On this episode of Bama Builds, we're going to be testing all three of the Harbor Freight Spectrum guns, being the new Black Widow with rear fan control, the original Black Widow, and then the Spectrum HTE 1.3. We'll be testing all three on that fender, so stick around. Hey, so I got a request on TikTok to make this video. And this video is going to compare the Spectrum HTE, and this has the 1.3, compared to the Spectrum HTE Black Widow 1.3 versus the new Black Widow HTE 1.3. So we're going to shoot a panel with all three of those in this video. So let's get started. Set up with my awesome doctorate style handwriting, new Black Widow, old Black Widow, and this right here will be Spectrum. So let me go get set up. I got the paint mixed up and I'll show that to you too. So I've got them in order: the new Black Widow, the old Black Widow, and the standard Spectrum. So they all roughly have the same, except for I put a little extra in that one because it was at a tilt, my bad. And this one's just the overflow. So I was trying to put 3 ounces in all, but I knew this one's going to have a little more, and that one has 1 line over. So there's our clear. Let's get the guns on and let's get you set up for recording. Just so you're aware, we will be using a Walcom digital regulator, or the Walcom regulator with a digital gauge. So let me get each one set up. Okay, the new Black Widow with rear fan control from Harbor Freight. Okay, let's get the second Black Widow. Okay, the original Black Widow HTE 1.3. Let's do that middle part. All right, let's get the Spectrum 1.3. Okay, Harbor Freight Spectrum HTE 1.3. Okay, let's let those sit for about 5 minutes and we'll come back and put a second coat. As we are letting these dry, can I give you a quick overview of the finish? We're using all the same clear, and you're gonna have to ignore the dust. I did not even tack it off. Should I? Probably. But you can see that the origin, or the first, or the last, the Spectrum HTE, the chrome one, not a Black Widow, has some orange peel to it. And the original Black Widow is a lot more glassier. It does have some orange peel if you look right in there. Same thing here, you can see it. And then when we get over to the new one, looks really, really good. So I sprayed this area right here so I could take my finger and stick on it and see how tacky it is. Since this is a rapid clear, we got probably just a few more minutes left. It is a little cold outside, so let's let it finish flashing, and we'll come back. Okay, we're back for the second coat on the Harbor Freight Black Widow with rear fan control HTE 1.3. And that goes on that far side. Now I did change the camera angle up a little bit. Let me know if that's okay. Well, you can. Hopefully it's okay. The original Black Widow by Harbor Freight HTE 1.3. I didn't do my coverage right. And now the Spectrum HTE 1.3. Let me go get my guns clean and we'll be back. Start our recap. Let's see where we're at with the clear. It's tacky. It's tacky. So at this point, I will go ahead and show you the finish and we'll come back tomorrow and go from there. If we look at the new Black Widow over here, see if you can see in the light, has a little tiny bit of texture or orange peel. Now, if we go over to the original Black Widow with side fan, this was the rear fan, this is the side fan. We got basically a little bit, tiny bit more peel to it. This one is more, let's call it European clear coat finish with a very tiny little bit of peel. And let's get over to the Spectrum HTE. And you can really see more peel in this area. And here you can see very tiny little bit. And this one has a very tiny little bit. So we used all the same clear. I used the same settings across the board. I had to go back on this one and up the PSI just a tiny little bit to get this to lay out. The first one, as you guys seen, it had a substantial bit more peel. And I'll try to get as, you know, that clear to lay out. And everybody's like, what's your gun settings? What's your gun settings? Guys, you can have a gun setting starting, but the problem with it is we've got temperature, we've got viscosity of the clear. You know, you could be using a 4-to-1, and whether that 4-to-1 is reduced or not, 5%, 10%. You got 2-to-1. Some of those go 5, 10, and even 20%. So you can have a general settings, but you have a lot of factors with your gun settings. Again, temperature, viscosity. That's going to be your main thing. It also has to do with how close or how far you're spraying away from the panel. It could be your fan pattern wide. You can narrow it up a little bit, and also your pressure. So take all of those in consideration. But if I was on a budget as we speak, by looking at these right now, which we'll come back tomorrow and get the final verdict, I'm still leaning between the new Black Widow and the older Black Widow. Now, the Spectrum has a much narrower fan pattern where these I could make 1, 2, 3, 4 passes. Here is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 passes, and I'll go back confirm that when I edit the video. But if you're wanting a factory peel and effect, I'll get my tripod out of the way. The Spectrum definitely has that factory OEM texture and peel for most of your cars. Some of your Toyotas now and some of your other ones have a substantial bit more peel to it from the factory. And you can see the waviness in the lights as it moves, and you get over here to the, well, here you can see, look right here, you see how that ripple in the original Black Widow. Then you get over here and see less ripple. Now see if we can get that same light in this panel. you can see it really ripple. Really ripple. That kind of gives you your texture effect. So again, right now I would be between these two, which would be the new and the old Black Widow. And if I had to pick one at this point, I would go with the new Black Widow. But let's see what tomorrow shows us. I did notice that up here on this corner, I did not get much clear coat, so I'm gonna have to take that out, make sure that's not in effect. But this is a Matrix Fast Clear. I believe it's MS52, if I recall correctly. So it's going to be hell to get that tape off of the panel. I'm going to have to sand it off, literally. But this is all for science. Okay, let me stop rambling. And for you, it'll be now. For me, it'll be a little while. So check back. And we are back on the Harbor Freight Spectrum, being the new Black Widow with rear fan control, the original Black Widow with side fan control, and then the Spectrum HTE 1.3 across the board. Did use a Matrix Fast, which I believe is the MS52. And let's take a gander. So if we look at the texture here, you have to ignore all the dust nibs. We're strictly looking at texture at this point. Then we go over here. So this is the new Black Widow with rear fan control. Pretty decently flat. Then we go to the original with side fan control. And then this is the Harbor Freight HTE. And if you look at this light right here, you can see the texture. So my thought on this is, I would still be between the new and the original Black Widow. This one had a much smaller fan on it, but I did have to put an extra coat on it because the fan was so small. And I mean, if you look at the finish is really OEM. That's the best way to look at it. It's really OEM. And then we look at the original, and then we go back to the new. I mean, if you look at just the effect, the original Black Widow definitely sprayed it better. But if you feel it, besides the dirt nibs, the new Black Widow feels smoother versus the original. I don't know. They're pretty darn equal. But the Spectrum, it's got a little bit more to it, not very much, but they're all great guns, as you can see. All great guns. I would still lean more towards the original or the new. I think I need bigger panels to shoot with, would give me a better synopsis. But the fan on this one was smaller. But if you already have the Spectrum HTE 1.3, don't go out and buy either one of these. You're going to make double the passes, and you're going to get a fairly decent finish. But if you're looking to buy, you can get the original Black Widow cheaper than you can the new one. So that's my synopsis of it. I would be between these just because they're a little faster. This one being a little bit faster than the original, but again, I need a little bit more time with this gun to be able to run it. So there's your part 2. Give me your thoughts down below. I will link these below, as well as some of the products I used in this video down below. They are affiliate links, except for the Harbor Freight ones. Those are not affiliate links. So you guys have a good one, and we'll do a part 3. And I don't know whether we're going to use this one because it's going to take a lot to get that tape off. Part 3 will be sealer, base coat, and clear. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe and follow, and we'll see you on the next one.